Boom, shakalaka. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. Hope you guys are having a wonderful weekend. We're going to be talking about what to expect in the markets this week, especially with the economic uncertainty that we have right now with inflation, the economy, interest rates. We're going to be talking about important macroeconomic pieces of data that will be released and how that's going to have an impact. Also, how is Palantir going to fit into this whole mess? And that's because on Friday, as we probably all know by now, Palantir Technologies was announced to be included into the S&P 500. Perfect. Now, the actual rebalance, when it's going to take effect, is not going to be happening until the market open on September 23rd. We're going to be talking about what we could possibly see in terms of Palantir price action going against the uncertainty in the markets that we're experiencing right now. We're going to be talking about futures, what they're looking like, and also how Palantir is trading right now in the overnight hours on Robinhood. So if you're a new or returning viewer, hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Now, pop it up here. Palantir Technologies is at 33.03 in the overnight hours. We're seeing a little bit of a buying pressure coming in. Could we possibly get a push to 35 before or even $34 before market open? I think that's entirely possible. Now, Palantir does have some resistance right now where we speak. That's at $33. It'll be interesting to see what happens in the pre-market and, of course, what the reaction will be during the actual market open. This is where we're going to see the true reaction to the announcement of the S&P. We already see the S&P 500 inclusion effect kind of taking grounds right now in the fact that Palantir is up 7% compared to where the market close was on Friday. So lots of volatility that could be coming tomorrow. Talking about what's happening right now with stock futures and the macroeconomic data that we really need to pay close attention to. We have stock futures that are continuing to slip after the S&P suffers its worst week since 2023. We're also going to be mentioning there's an important announcement with Apple and how they're also going to be leading to some different variables within the market. Now, S&P futures, they're down about 0.1%. What we're seeing here, remember, the first trading week of September, we see a seasonally slow month. We've seen this historically for the month of September regarding the broader market. The S&P 500 has already came down 4.3%, registering its worst week since March of 2023. You see the NASDAQ and the Dow, they're both also respectively dropping in terms of percentages. Now, this is kind of ignited and gaslighted after the August jobs report came in showing signs of a slower labor market. Now, economic data, they released that the jobs only grew by 142,000 versus 161,000 that were expected. And one big thing that I think is going to bring even more volatility to the market this week is investors are watching out for two key inflationary reports. These really will help the Fed make a more of an ingrained, detailed decision on what they're going to be doing with interest rates. Now, one thing that we're going to have is the consumer price index. That's a big one. And the producer price reports. Those are slated for release on Wednesday and also Thursday morning. Right now, the market is pricing in about a 71% chance that the Fed's going to be cutting rate by 25 basis points. And in the next meeting, a 29% chance we're going to see a 50 basis point cut. And the question is basically, why take the risk on a 50 basis point cut? The Fed here is aiming for a soft landing. They don't want to make things too drastic, causing and putting the market into a recession. And that's where we transition into PLTR. And specifically here, I think in the short term, we're going to see a lot of buying pressure and momentum, kind of regardless of what's happening in the market. However, eventually, the market pressures and institutional investors and everything like that will start to have an effect on PLTR. And this is why I think in the short term, we could see PLTR bouncing up to the 35s, trying to find some support there, consolidating there for a little bit. Then possibly, in my opinion, I think we're going to see a little bit of a pullback if the market, that's the big if the market continues to see bearish pressure and signs that the economy is cooling, that's when Palantir is could be testing those 30s again. But however, if we're seeing good reaction in the market in terms of momentum, things are looking well, that's where Palantir can try to get hold of its ground in the mid to the higher 30s. Now, also, we got to remember that Palantir is trading at a very high premium, but right now the whole valuation criticism that we see in every article, that's kind of being thrown out the window. We've seen this with NVIDIA. We've seen this with all the AI stocks and the market boom that's happening right now. Valuations are the least of the concerns. They're only going to be a concern when we see a market sell-off. That's when they're going to be a concern. And that's when all the value-oriented investors are going to start DCAing on a lot of these stocks. Now, of course, what we are also seeing is that we have Apple that will be showing off its iPhone 16 smartphone tomorrow, Monday, at 10 a.m. Pacific time. This is going to be the first iPhone with AI tech. And even though I'm not that big of an Apple fan, a lot of people are. And a lot of people pay attention to what Apple is going to be doing. This is also going to have an effect on how the AI market is, and that is because they are releasing the first iPhone that has a lot of AI tech that's supposed to be intertwined within its device. We'll see how that comes to fruition, what it actually looks like, and there's probably going to be some memes that will be created off of that. We see Apple, that's coming down right now. Other earnings that will be released, Oracle earnings. We don't have a ton of earnings that's going to be happening this week. Only 3 total stocks within the S&P 500 are actually releasing their earnings. So talking about that continuation, Palantir, next earnings is still a decent bit away, about 2 months away, November 1st. Earnings per share coming in at 9 cents. That's a prediction. Earnings per share revisions, we have 11 in the bullish direction. And that is good, mostly good. We don't want to push it too high because we want Palantir to keep exceeding those expectations like they have been if you're trying to keep a bullish perspective. Now, talking about NVIDIA. This is also having a big impact on the market. Is NVIDIA set for further losses below $100? That's an interesting question. Analysis. NVIDIA is sitting right now at $102 and is at that $100 support level. NVIDIA has also been kind of correlating and trading with the general market right now. And NVIDIA has a large weight on the market. So if we see NVIDIA fall beneath that $100, it's going to pretty much have a big effect on bringing the market down. Now, the most notable challenges, and talking about NVIDIA, it's lost 9%, struggling to maintain its valuation below the $100 zone. That's going to be incredibly important, even dropping over 4% in the day. We've seen a decline since June. Now, NVIDIA has done, if we look at the last 2 years, incredibly well. We're talking all short-term stuff here, guys, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not coming out here saying I'm bearish on these stocks. Short-term stocks, short-term momentum. In the long term, I'm remaining bullish on these. Now, with this can lead into a domino and a cascade effect. Price levels to watch, retesting lower between 84 and 102. That's where you're going to have more uncertainty coming into the market. And that's just the matter of the fact. The Wall Street analysis, however, is kind of a little bit different than what we are kind of all anticipating. Right now, we see the stock could see a 47% upside possibly within the next 12 months, and that's actually a bullish piece here. With a lot of the analysts right here on average that are rating a 12-month forecast at $151 with another 47% upside, that would put NVIDIA at a very, very, very high valuation and market cap, but nothing like we haven't seen in the last 2 years from NVIDIA. So the analysts right here, high targets of 200 and low of 90. A lot of them are still rating a buy. 39 exactly out of the 43. So most of them are still rating NVIDIA as a buy. And we're seeing the AI boom that is continuing. The demand is holding up. One of the biggest questions is, how big is this AI boom going to be in terms of market capitalization that is pulling in to the general market in these AI stocks? How are smaller stocks that are starting to get into the limelight, like Palantir, going to be affected? And where does the stop sign show up? And also, how much can you put your foot on the gas? Those are the big questions that we need to analyze and talk about. But we're keeping you guys updated on a daily basis. I think, of course, the biggest celebration to really celebrate this last weekend and going into this week is Palantir got announced that it's included into the S&P 500. For the bulls that have been waiting for a long time, congratulations. And for the bears that are out there, or people just trying to, not necessarily bearish, but in the short term, trying to wait to get in at Palantir, waiting for a sell-off. Depending on market conditions, I think that could basically happen at any time. And nobody can truly predict that. So those are both sides of the fence. I'm not trying to flip, bullish, bearish. I'm really just, like I said, collecting all the different perspectives, trying to analyze them and bring them to you in a simplistic and in the quickest summary that I can. Peace out. Take care. I'll catch you guys down in the comments. Have a wonderful night and a good start to your week.